Hi, my name is Sahira Dean. I'm the virtual PLC lead for High School 2D Art, and welcome to the Godot community. In today's webinar, we'll be looking at ways to use the visual verbal journals, also known as VVJs, as a cross-curricular tool in the art classroom. So one thing I wanted to say is that I'm a huge advocate and fan of VVJs. I started doing the VVJs with my students about 13 years ago, and I've just kind of been reinventing and getting a little more creative in how I teach it each year. So I'm a huge fan because it does allow, I feel, a way for students to experiment with other media, with different techniques, looking at different artists. And it just helps them to create their personal voice through art and writing. So what you're looking at on the screen is one tool that I use to help students to kind of figure out where they're going in their journal. So it's a planning guide for them. I should say that sometimes I do use or just allow them just to sketch in their sketchbook without giving them prompts. So I kind of fill out the class and kind of see what if this is needed or not. But I do feel that this, if you're just starting this out with your students, it is important to give them some kind of guide to help them incorporate the writing and the art. So one of my favorite topics or prompts to give students is on a social political stance. So this encourages them to go out and research a little bit. And a lot of them, if you ask them the right questions, because if you tell them, choose a social political issue and create your journal on that. A lot of them are not sure on what to do it on, or maybe just not sure on what a social political topic might be. And a lot of the things that they come up with is really, really cool and self-expressive in terms of their writing. And it just helps them to navigate their thoughts on where they stand on different issues, which I feel is important. You as the teacher are more so allowing them to formulate their opinion in a respectful way. So, without getting too heavy in terms of politics, the heavy politics that are going on right now, you can creatively do this just by helping them, choose a topic, maybe point them to how to research, and then help them to figure out through using elements and principles of design, the best way to navigate and create a successful journal entry. So back to this topic. This is one of my favorite ones to do with students. So you can see the different questions. It has them thinking about things they're passionate about, has them actually doing some research, so this definitely overlaps with a lot of things that might be, they might be getting in their social studies class, their economics class, their history class. Maybe they read something that they weren't a fan about or a fan of, or maybe they read something that they were a fan of, or they're glad that a certain law or something like that passed. So this is definitely a way for them to incorporate art and their knowledge of history and current events from their social studies class. So I want to show just some examples based off this particular prompt. So you can see this student chose to do some research, pull up some statistics based on poverty numbers. So she used graphing paper and she created some graphs in the background. And then in the foreground, she created, just kind of really an image using words, which I thought was really successful. The student on my right incorporated some newspaper articles and images, and you can see that they created some emphasis by creating the red X, and you can see they placed the text down below. And then another student chose to burn through his book, to kind of help convey the idea of the war and bombings that were going on at the current time. And then this student actually was really interested. A lot of her artwork that she did incorporated her belief in aliens. So she asked, well, can I do my entry on my belief that they're aliens? I said, well, cool. Let's work it out. Let's do it. So this is what she came up with, and it does open up. Like if you see in the top right corner, it folds and continues to open. And then she was able to navigate some actual, current events that were going on in her journal as well, which I thought was really interesting for her to kind of, merge her belief in aliens and with current events. Here's another entry from another student, and this is just another example in terms of planning. So with this year, I didn't provide the planning guides just to kind of see how they do. And this particular student was really good at writing. She did a lot of writing, stories. She did a lot of journaling on her own. So this she came up with actually just for this particular prompt, which actually didn't have anything to do with the social political journal, but I thought it was just really interesting to show a successful way to incorporate the writing and the art together. So one of my goals as a teacher in presenting them with the idea of VVJs is that they might take some of that knowledge and skill learned in their journals and, maybe it'll show up in their artwork. So here are two really good examples of that. These are two AP students. So on my left-hand side with the colorful background in the white figure, he actually documented his anxiety attack. So he did some research on a brain scan undergoing an anxiety attack. So he did in the background, that's the brain scan, and he did it on several different images, which I thought was really, really successful, not only in technique, but just idea also. And then another student, the other student whose work is on the screen, she was really interested in going into medical studies. So she took some of her knowledge from human anatomy classes, and incorporated it into an artwork, which I also thought was really successful. So if you are doing a lot of cool things with interdisciplinary, if you are doing currently some interdisciplinary lesson plans, or maybe you have some questions that you'd like to ask, or maybe just some things you'd like to share, please hop on over to the Godot community and take part in the discussion. I'd love to interact with you there. Again, my name is Sahira Dean. I am the High School 2D Art PLC lead.